But yeah, um, pro again, every single day I read the headlines and I'm like, "You know what? I'm glad I'm an inside cat." And yes, JKD Buck is correct. Squid has a second channel, and as a person who, uh, struggles with mobility, struggles with balance, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Uh, there is nothing more humbling than so this winter, I told you guys we got our new door finally, but basically our old door was dead, 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 just dead. And I don't know that anything was done with a level in our house when it was constructed. I don't know if in the '70s they just didn't have a square or a level, but long story short, our door was letting massive amounts of cold air in to the point where I have basically become a kind of, just I stay in my room. Not because I want to, stay away from my family, um, or not completely, but because the outside of the everywhere outside of my room and my space heater would get so cold because we couldn't keep the cold air from coming in, even with the wood burning fireplace and everything. So finally, Mr. Mo had to tape it all off with that, uh, plastic and you use the hair dryer and it does the shrinky dink thing. So we did that. So we've been having to walk outside our back door, around, the around this, like, makeshift walkway to our front door to get in and out of our house, which should not be a problem until you add snow. So your world shrinks. Your world shrinks because for everyone else in the family and it's not easy to talk about, and I don't like to whine, and it's a bit humbling. I'm okay, it's a lot humbling, and I hate asking for help, and I hate anything that makes my diagnosis real, realer than it is. Um, so I stayed home a lot more when it was snowing, but the rare times I would have to go out were terrifying because for me, it's not just a fall, it's a fall and then, "Oh god, is this gonna trigger, uh, you know, issues in my other leg?" Um, it's also the very humbling thing that I can't always I can't trust my body anymore to support myself. Like, before I got hurt, you know, my weightlifting coach was actually really, really good at incorporating, functional movement. So, like the Turkish get up, if you don't know what it is, it's actually a series of movements that you would do with a kettlebell, but it's also a really, really good way, to work on a series of movements that if you're not steady, you can work on a series of movements to get yourself up should you fall down. So it kind of breaks that entire movement of getting up into a series of steps. It really helps you engage your core and kind of maneuver. So it's actually a really good thing. So I have all those tools, but when I'm going downstairs and my legs now start to shake, it's that lack of faith that your legs are gonna hold you, and it's very real, and we need, um look, the information that Squid is giving out is so needed. I've had I've had not so great, experiences, and I'm look, I am sure that the physical therapists were trying their best, and a lot of it is on me. And I'll be real, I have not been the most compliant with physical therapy because for physical therapy for me, has to do a lot with desensitization. And, uh, basically, I know I'm signing up for torture, and I usually do about 2, appointments, and then I don't go back. So, it is a lot on me. I totally get it. But basically, what I sign up for and what the first thing they have to do is to get me desensitized, which means basically piss my leg off, enough that it gets overwhelmed of being pissed off. At least that's the theory. Now, that is a fine idea, and there have been CRPS patients that have gone through the entire process and do say it works. Eh, maybe if I didn't have anything else in my life, but the problem is that it, uh, it basically means knowing that I'm going to have a series of large flares, and I just I have no desire to really put myself through it, even if there is a light at the end of the tunnel at this moment, and I know that's not so great, uh, but I also know the reality of what physical therapy means for me, and, um, so I do what I can on my own because you do need to work on these skills. You do need to use, your core strength. You need to have muscle memory and channels like Squids, um, y KU Thunder, um I am hoping that, there is a way we can, look at one of I'll be real with you guys. If I win the lottery, like, we're, um, we're paying off debts and stuff, but I would get one of those, in-ground lap pools that are heated because as I used to work as at an aquatic therapy rehab pool. Here is the problem that I will face. We do have a indoor pool at the YMCA that is close to my home. Lap pools for, like, swimming, for doing laps, for exercising are usually kept at about 70 to 80 degrees. Perfectly fine, and that is a good temperature if you're gonna be moving, doing exercise, things like that. That is not the perfect temperature for aquatic physical therapy for therapeutic means. That's more at a 90 to 100 degrees, possibly even higher if you're doing Achi or, different different therapy modalities in the water. That being said, the closest one is down in Bloomington, and it's just a hot tub, it's not a therapy pool. So in order to do the movements and things I would need, to be able to do, it's just not a viable option right now, and, but I am looking at, there are some of those, salt float tanks, nearby, so I am looking at those. So I am trying to be proactive in my own way, and that's why I was talking to Squid about doing a collaboration on our second stream about things I can do, uh I know, I am living my life the wrong way. Um, about practical things, because I will say it does get scary when you're trying to I'm great going up the stairs, like, up the stairs, no problem, but down the stairs, my legs get shaky, so I don't know if it's the movement, and here's the problem with having just enough physical therapy, uh, you know, or knowledge to be dangerous, is I know it's not my muscle strength. Yes, I do have a noticeable weakness on my left side, and you can definitely tell there has been some muscle wasting. It is visible. There is a visible circumferential, you know, uh, there's about a good maybe quarter inch to half inch difference between my calf on my left side and my right side. So I know that I do know that there has been a change in range of motion, and, my gait pattern has definitely changed, so, I definitely know I also need to start getting back with my upright walker and working on walking. Again, it's just you would never think that you never think that you would be one of those people that if someone's up because I never used to be like this. Uh, I I would never ask anyone to get me anything. Like, if I was able to get up and get a drink, like, I was the last person that would say, "Hey, you're up. Could you get me a drink?" And now, if youngest most feral is in, bedeviling me, I'll have him get me things because I don't wanna take the steps. And that was not ever the mom I wanted to be. I always get these flashes of, "Look, I have a guilty pleasure. It's called my 600-pound life. When I need to clean my house, when I need rage, I watch my 600-pound life with Penny." Um, you know, it's hard to explain to someone that and thank you, Heidel, been lurking in on a Fibro AM. Love you. Thanks, you guys. Uh, yeah. It what I will say is for someone who is used to being a caregiver, it's very hard to gracefully receive care, and I still work on it. I still work on it, and I try to be very clear on days that are bad pain days. I try to gently remind Mr. Mo, I was like, "Sweetheart, I love you, and on most days, I find you hilarious and not annoying, but that is not one of these days." So it is. And and I get that other people don't get it. I mean, before I got pain, I used to work with people with chronic pain with CRPS. You don't get it. It very much is that, and, it was kind of nice for not nice, like, in a good way, but I found, uh Mr. Mo found a lot of understanding when he got shingles. And thank you so much for being a member. I am Super T for 10 months. Uh, not that I wanted to get him to get chronic nerve pain for a while, but he's like, "Oh my god, how do you get" he's like, "I'm trying to do stuff, and, it's like it's always there." Now, thank goodness he kind of cracked, his chronic or his shingle pain code where he could overload his nerves at the start of the morning by working out, and then it really didn't bother him as much the rest of the day. So I'm really so glad that that's worked out for him. But, it just what works out for you. But like I said, Now, I will say also, don't ever measure yourself by someone else. And, um, I say that as someone who was very early in their kind of journey of acceptance with CRPS, right about the time that the Maya Kowalski trial was starting. And I found myself very unfairly, using Maya's grace and composure and just general, uh, you know, maturity as a weapon against myself. You know, she's 16 or she's 18 and look what she's able to do. And, you know, she's got this figured out, all this other stuff. And that's the thing. Once you start streaming, look, anyone can look put together on a screen. I currently have a Sailor Moon blanket that has, well, the stains of a house of 6 children on. I am wearing, fuzzy socks. I have my heater on my, chair on. So don't don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to someone else's, you know, chapter that they're on. You have to honor yourself at the part of the journey you're at. And be okay if you're gonna have days where you're back at step 1. I am, as I tell my husband, because I'm, uh, pretty good at logic. He's like, "You're like if I married a dude, but you're a girl, because he's like, "You 90% of the time you use logic, and then the 10% of the time you're a girl." And I was like, the fact that I take that as a compliment means we should be together, because I don't think most wives would be okay with that." But I understood exactly what he was getting at, because most of the time I like to approach things with logic and, you know, when is Jay coming up? So I was just, I was laughing because I was like, "That is totally, totally true." I was like, "Look, the other 10% of the time, my hysterical uterus takes over and my hormones, and I have no control." Look, they don't text me, they don't tell me when, like, I have no notice, and then all of a sudden, YouTube throws up a Sarah McLachlan ASAP, freaking cart or commercial, and I'm like, "Oh my god." And my husband's like, "What is happening?" And I'm like, "I don't know, because now my hormones now, I would like to say that y'all, and thank you so much, MQS, I love you back. Y'all, for as long as I can remember, since my hormones and I got acquainted at the age of 12, when the hormone fairy decided, instead of, I don't know, blessing me with height or abs or no cellulite, that she was gonna drop off double Ds just over the summer, no reason. Now, my hormones and I have always skewed toward the bitchy end of the spectra. I have gotten used to this. I have found my home on the bitchy spectra of, hormones. My husband and I both understand that when, you know, said hormones come out and bitchy Mo appears, this is how we deal with her. Bitchy Mo, we get. We have contingencies. We have DEFCON 1 through 4 figured out with bitchy Mo. We've got that figured out. Well, here in the last year, the hormones have decided to introduce us all, for just giggles, I guess, to this hysterical new town called Crying Mo, Sad Mo. No idea. So this and again, not even a Post-it, not even a text message from the damn hormone police. Oh, hell no. No, I wake up one morning and Mr. Mo is over here. Now, Mr. Mo is used to when Bitchy Mo arrives, waking up to and coming into my room with a face like and he's like, "Oh, hell." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Do you know what you did in my dream?" And he's like, "No, but I'm sure I'm in trouble for it." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you wanna talk about your dream you doing whatever?" And he's like, "Um, I'm just gonna go get the Ben& and Jerry's for DEF CON 1, bitch mo." Like, that's he already knows this. Like, we have a script, we have a hostage negotiator, we've got all of that figured out for bitch mo. Now, a couple months back, though, he walks in, and I am crying. Now, Mr. Mo has rarely seen tears come out of my eyes because I don't do, like, sad. Sad doesn't I just don't. And he is like, "What's the matter? Are you in pain?" And I was like, "I don't know why I'm crying, but I'm mad, and then I keep crying, and I wanna be a bitch. I don't like sad." And he's like, "I don't know what to do," and I was like, "I don't think anyone can do anything because my uterus is in control, and I'm not even wanting to use it anymore. Why is it being mean to me?" A and Mr. Mo is like, "Oh my god, I don't even" like, he is thinking he needs to call a young priest, an old priest, and a Pentecostal. Like, we are both he's like, "I don't know what to do with the sad you," and I was like, "I know, I like to be a bitch, and I can't stop crying." And we are both confused because he is over here like, "I don't even know," and he's like, "You have the uterus, you talk to it." And I'm like, "I don't you act like I've been able to figure this shit out for 40 damn years." Like, this heifer has never even talked to me. So, th as I foretold, when I found out I was pregnant with my 6th child, my surprise baby, and I did the hysterical math of 1 doing math, and I looked at Mr. Mo, I smiled a devious smile of one that has decided to laugh in the face of a sharknado, and I said, "Sweetheart, I've just done the math." And he's like, "Yeah, 6 kids, I know." And I was like, "No, it gets worse." And he's like, "How does 6 children get worse?" And I was like, "Have you done the math?" And he's like, "Yes, 6 children, I get it, 6." And I was like, "No, sweetheart." And I think maybe he might have wanted to get an exorcist, and thank you so much. You get one of the new flames, and I sponsor an exorcist for Mo. Oh, my grandma would be so well, she'd be sad, but she'd be happy too, because 'cause I'd be embracing my Catholicism again. Thank you so much for the 2, I'm gonna guess euros, but let's be real, I can't even go to Europe right now. My entire thought process is a hate crime, of logic. But where was I going with this? It will come right back to me. I love this. I used to be able to go, "Oh," so as he continued to get more afraid because my voice kept getting creepier and creepier because I had now unlocked the key of our doom. It's like he was worried, for I had foreseen the future, and I looked at him and I smiled and I said, "Sweetheart, do you realize that just about the time we get everyone through puberty, I'm gonna go through menopause. And I started cackling, like, the cackle that came out of me must have been like Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris had a baby. Now, I blame this on my love of the absurd and perhaps a little bit of hysteria learning that I was pregnant 2 days after my husband's vasectomy consult. So, maybe, just maybe, I had a little bit of a hysterical break, but the math has foretold and held true. So pray for Mr. Mo because it's gonna be nothing but hot flashes, and I'm not picking up those socks in this house for a while. Mr. Mo is gonna make a he shed just for himself or a bomb shelter. He's like, "Nope, nope, I done did this 6 time." And look, y'all, I dealt through with 3 girls A and puberty. He's got the feral boys. There is no way I'm having conversations about not one dang thing other than wash yourself with soap. I don't know why I never had to have this conversation with my girls, but apparently my boys need to be told to A, turn on the shower. That turning on the shower and standing in the bathroom is not taking a shower. Going into the shower thing and standing near the water is also not taking a shower. Standing in the shower under the water without using soap is I've given birth to lawyers. They're like, "Technically, I was in the bathroom." And I was like, "Mr. Shapiro, get back in there and use soap." My youngest was like, "Well, I got wet." And I was like, it's like, "Listen to me, Johnny Cochran. Get in there and wash yourself." I feel like I'm constantly just fighting with the youngest, most feral not to be Adam Sandler on Big Daddy. Is my kid the stinky kid? You know, you never want your kid to be the stinky kid. This kinda just evolved into story time, but I am glad that the internet has held steady. And let's see, I'm trying to see if Nick put up his stream yet. Like I said, I'm just oh, it's gonna start at 9. So what I'm going to do is I am going to set it up so this gets or you guys get, uh, popped over there, and then I am going to use the restroom before we start because I don't know if y'all are aware, but let me just tell you that 6 children, does not a strong bladder make. I know you are shocked, but I doubt I'll ever be doing a trampoline routine ever again. Um, now I thank you so much, JKD Buck, and like I said, as much as you guys, think that I inspire you guys, when I talk about my life, the weird miracle of having kind of the twin experience of the same time of my life expanding and being my dream, while also dealing with, my body maybe, not always doing what I want. There This has been my dream, you guys. I never thought that I would ever do this. It was always my someday when the kids are this or when, that happens or whenever. And, maybe here is what I will tell you if you're ever struggling with anything, because I found it in my life. For 2 years, 2, I prayed every day that God would take away my CRPS. Every day. And every day he said no. And I got more and more angry. And I kept thinking, why? Why would you continue to keep me in pain? Why do you continue to say no to me? You know, am I not asking correctly? Am I not, I'm trying to do what my doctors say. Look, I'm trying to be compliant. I'm trying to be a good person while I wait. I'm trying to, be faithful. What the hell, God? Seriously. I was like, dude, I was like, God, seriously, towards the end of the 2 years, I was like, you made me a widow at 24 with 2 small children and a house that was foreclosed on, nowhere to live, and you got me a job in 3 weeks, and you took care of us. You found me a man that loves me and loves my kids, and you gave us more kids, and you've always taken care of us. And the minute I was gonna do, something for me, the moment I was gonna have, free time as a mom, I got 1 year 1 year, with, like, the kids in school before I got hurt that I had 8 hours to do anything by myself, and most of the time it was cleaning, so I was so angry and I was so pissed off, like, you know, I'm praying for healing and look, y'all, Mr. Mo's mom was, like, the best Christian, like, she and Steve Gosney, like, when you need someone to look at that's, like, good Christian, follow their example, she was one of those people. Like, one of the people when you're like, "You know what? If every Christian was like so and so, I'd totally go to church." She was one of them people. And she was praying for me, and I thought, God might not listen to me, but he definitely listened to, like, one of his good Christians, because like, look, I get it, like, not the best example, curse way too much, kind of quick to wrath, all that bad stuff. Y yeah, not the best one, and, so and then Dave invited me on his stream, and he took his time, and he gave it, and you know, a couple people gave me encouragement to start my own channel, and then people hung out with me. Nick gave me a chance on his stream, and I realized somewhere around the first year that maybe God or the universe or however you feel, I'm not here. Look, y'all, like I've said a bajillion times, I am the worst example of a Christian. I don't proselytize. I Your journey to faith, the universe, the spaghetti monster in the sky is your own. But maybe God, maybe the universe says no because it's going to say yes to something you didn't even pray for. Maybe the universe is saying no to something you desperately desire because it's going to say yes to something even bigger than you dreamed for yourself. I would have never dreamed that I would wake up every morning and have people that wanna hang out and look at the weird clips that I found, or that would have people that are like, "Oh my gosh, are you ever gonna get that craft channel started?" You know, that my world was gonna expand to where I have friends in Denmark and Sweden, and, I know someone from Australia and Arizona, both places that do exist. So, if you're, struggling, if you're having one of those moments where you're constantly getting a no, the only advice I can give you is maybe, just maybe, it's because the universe, God, or whatever is ready to say yes to something that you didn't know you needed. Because youngest, most feral, we didn't know, but we needed him in our family. Now, if you ask any of his siblings, uh, they were like, "We were full. The manger is full." Now, I keep telling them, "Hey, you may need a kidney one day, you be nice to him." I have actually yelled that. Look, some days it's the only true thing I can think of, and I'm like, "You know, one day you might need a liver."